starting from side control, I'm going to put my thumb near his head in the near collar. And for my purposes, I'm going to put my knuckles on the ground. And then with this one, I'm going to grab his pant leg over here near his hip, just a few inches above his hip. I'm grabbing the pants here. And from here, I'm going to quote unquote pop up to knee on belly, but I want to make sure I don't separate. I don't want a bunch of space. I want to draw a line right along basically along his belt with my knee. I want to be connected the whole time, so there isn't a big opening to come out. And I'm now in knee and belly. I have those grips. My foot is in his shoulder line, so in the same line as his shoulders, but not exactly right next to him so that he could just reach it. I'm here, my knee's in the center of his belly. With my grips, you know, if I can put 155 pounds of me on somebody through the knee, I can make that number higher if I have grips and I can pull up on it. Kind of like if I was trying to put more weight on a scale and I had a strap under the scale and I pull up on the strap. It actually allows me to add whatever my strength can add to my weight. So I can be even heavier than I am if I have my good grips. The other good reason for this grip is if he starts turning on his side while I start doing this to face me, I can make him look that way again with a little cross-face action just with this hand. So that's what's useful about this hand. This hand stops him from turning away. Stay connected with the knee. Pop up to this position here, and you know, if I pull up, I can be all the heavier on my opponent. Okay, so that's how to get there. Let's focus first on just popping up, so it'll look like this. After I pop up to knee and belly, he touches my knee. His thought is he's going to push it off and turn on his side. Go ahead. That's what a successful one of those looks like, right? And that's what people immediately, they feel that knee and they're like, oh, get it off me, and they touch it. And touching it creates a little bit of an opening I can take advantage of, which is right here. It creates a loop that I'm just going to stick my hand in, and I'm going to get like a Kimura grip. That's one, and actually, I'm not pulling from way up here. I put my elbow on him. The other hand goes to the floor, so it's 1, 2, and I leave some space here because I'm going to bring my knee around, not over, but around his head and down his body with my toes pointed. So it goes like that. When I land, I'm going to hook his shoulder with my foot. That's going to help me do the last thing, which is bring my knee to the ceiling. So I do want both knees pointing up so that my thighs, that means my thighs are pinching together and I have a solid control for the armbar. So when I pop up and he touches it, I stick my hand in this hole, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm gonna bring my knee to the ceiling. To do that, you're gonna really want not to have pointed toes anymore, that's uncomfortable. You're gonna wanna bend your foot, hook the shoulder, and then both knees to the ceiling, thighs together, hold on to the arm. The other mistake that's really common that somebody can do when I add pressure with my knee is to try to relieve that pressure by pushing me away with the near arm instead of the far arm. So when I'm here, a lot of times hand to the hip is what, yeah, he's trying to almost push me off. He's trying to get control of me here and push me off. What I'm gonna do is keep the one that he gives me. So I'm gonna keep this to me, put my hand on the floor, and then I'm gonna slide my foot into his armpit right here. It's the same kind of hooking the armpit motion that we had on the other side when we were done. But I do it first. So 1, 2, just for balance. And now I'll slide this in, and my weight can just really rest on him here. I don't want you to feel like you have to hold your weight up on your hand. You sit on them for just a moment, and then I'm gonna bring my foot over his head. I want his hand in my armpit, and I'm gonna sit down right next to him, and I have the braking power in my armpit right away. It's actually very quick, so I wanna make sure you guys don't fall back too much. So I do use the other hand that was on the floor just to catch myself on my person. I am rappelling off of this hand on him. On this one, you also don't have to finish perpendicular. You'll notice that when I roll off, it is that, so I'm rolling off. He touches me here, I put this here, I slide this into the armpit, I sit on him, step over his head, and now I'm only falling like 5 or 6 inches off of him, the height of his body. And I have now in my armpit his arm and the braking power across my thigh. So I landed just sitting next to him. I don't feel like you have to get over to here perpendicular. I pop up, he tries to alleviate the pressure by pushing my hips away. I keep this, put my hand on the floor, slide my foot into the armpit, and now I can relax my weight onto him, step over his head, make sure this is in your armpit, and now I'm just rolling off of him. Maybe he'll even roll onto his side. I'm just falling to here. It's a very controlled fall, and I have his arm here. If he touches my knee, I have an option here. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put my hand on his wrist. I like a thumbless grip. You can do whatever is most comfortable, thumbful or thumbless grip. I like to just pin it to his body here. And my goal here now is to come around, kind of like I did for the armbar, but this time I'm just underhooking his arm. And I'm gonna bring my knees on either side of his head and get a Kimura set up here from north-south. This is a Kimura from north-south. From here, I pick up his hand, I bring it behind him, I tuck it behind his back, and rotating at this angle, I'll get that shoulder lock. Start in knee on belly. When he puts his hand here, if he closes this space, when he sees me coming in for this, I have options, okay? So I'm gonna pin his wrist to here, and I'm gonna come around, and this time I'm threading through that hole from the bottom up instead of from the top down. So I come in here, I'm straddling his head. You can put varying amounts of weight on their head if you like. If he's holding his belt, just an initial response that you can have if he holds his belt is to tear it forward. So grab your belt. You can pull up this way. It may not be as effective as breaking the grip the way that the hand opens, which is right there, yeah. So when he's holding his belt, I bring it straight out his belly, straight this way, and then up over his belt so he doesn't grab it again. Bend the arm, put it behind his back, and rotate here. Knee on belly, I'm gonna pin his wrist. This time I'm coming around and up from underneath, and I'll connect my hands, that same figure 4 grip here, straddling the head, and if he grabs his belt, just initial resistance, I'll pop his hand out, forward, like the direction of his nose is pointing, over his body, behind his back. Do everything past the body, slow, okay? Slowly through here. This move gets better. There's a better way to control the bottom person while I'm finishing so they don't just get away. He touches my knee. My fingers, by the way, start pointing south when I pin this wrist. And then I'm gonna come around and I come to here. So finishing from here, you can try to do. But if somebody's kind of savvy on the bottom, they may try to escape. So what I would like to do is I'd like to take this arm out of the equation. So I'm gonna do it by stepping into this space. And if he's here, I'm stepping into this space. And I will leave my ball of my foot in the air, and I'll use my heel to scrape backwards. And I'm trying to get my leg all the way under his arm. Now that it's on top of it's really hard to get back out for him. So defending from this position becomes very difficult. And I can sit and I can squeeze and all these things add to it, but having scraped the arm out is huge. The difference between that and this for him, for escape, potential and stuff is huge. So I want to step here. I'm gonna use my heel to scrape this up, and I bring it back here. Now his arm and head are stuck away from this arm. That's always a great time to attack this arm. So forward this way, up and over, put this behind his back. Behind his back, he won't be grabbing his belt again, and then I have to finish. From here, I'm pinning this with my fingers pointing south. That's actually the beginning of me turning, is me grabbing. Come down here, and now I'll scrape the arm out of position. Pop this out and put it behind. Always, I'll put the X-Acto blade of my heel on the floor, not the whole thing. Just the blade, cut under this arm, capture it, and now I can finish this. I will put 4 fingers in the collar, 4 fingers across the near side collar. He's gonna be trying to knock my knee off. Whether correct or incorrect, he's gonna be trying to knock my knee off and turn on his side here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna allow that to happen. Instead of having my toes on the ground, I'm gonna straighten my toes so that there's nothing impeding my leg from being pushed off. I have the forefingers in the collar. I'm gonna do this, go ahead and push it off toward the... Good. The choke is right here. By turning to face me, which is an escape for him, it is a good idea because he can begin to elbow escape and so forth. He exposes to me the vulnerable second grip. You know, this is the second grip I want anyway. We can sometimes get our thumb in and make it a kind of sort of a beautiful reverse choke here. But frequently, you're gonna want, for expediency, to just, you sort of slap and grab. You notice I'm not slapping him hard, but it's just to collect a little material, slap and grab with my little fingers, Pedro Sauer calls them, this material here, and I'm gonna try and stay under his jaw here. If he tucks his chin and it's hard to drop, I still make contact with his cheekbone. This like looks mean, but this is just effective. I'm gonna open it and then drop in. Okay? I'm using his cheekbone to then drop into that space. I got 4 fingers in the collar, and I'm not gonna leave my toes on the ground. I actually want to make it easy for him to push my knee up. This time I'm gonna kind of go with it, give him some of what he wants, but finish it my way. So I'm gonna pick this up, and then when he pushes my knee off and turns on his side, we have now one grip, and here's the second one right here. He's exposed his neck to me. I slap and grab a little material right here, and I can drop my elbow. And I'm not only dropping my elbow, this is actually a piece of advice I got from Damien Maya. I asked him in a seminar, hey, I'm having trouble finishing this choke this way, and he said, don't forget you can also lift from the bottom. It's not only dropping your elbow. So when I was here, I was trying to drop my elbow, and I was like, it's not finishing. But he's like, well, also lift. Also, you're almost lawn mowing with this one, starting a lawnmower. I'm in knee and belly. I got 4 fingers in. I'm gonna let him push this off and turn on his side. Connect right here, drop my elbow, and lift the bottom hand. Both hands are working. It's not about how you grab the material, because I'm grabbing the material just fine, but there's kind of no pressure. Remember that the material is aiding your connection to the neck. It's just helping you close that connection. So first make your connection and then grab the material. And you can have a much tighter choke much sooner than if you grab material because you're like, that's where he said to grab material. It's not about the material, it's about the carotid. So make carotid contact, then grab your material. You have a nice quick choke right there. This is a Marcio Stambowski choke. I got it from Marcio when we were in Mexico at one of the camps. I have my 4 fingers in the collar, and what I do is, when his arm is down here, hand is down here, meaning not at his neck. So yeah, you can touch my knee, would be a good reason it would be down there. I'll put my hand on the ground. I'll voluntarily put my knees in the ground. I'll take side control, but I'll put my head on the ground as well. So bring your right hand to your neck to protect it. Yeah, he can't. I'm in the way. So I just blocked out his hand. This is a very simple move, but now he can't stop the choke. All I did was put my head on the ground, blocking out his arm because he brought it down south. That's not where his neck is, so that's not going to be helpful to protect himself there. So I have 4 fingers in. I'm starting the same way, and when he touches down on my knee, I know his hand is down south, so I'm just going to go to side control, put my head on the ground, I can put my thumb in the collar or get my little fingers again. But for the finish, bring your head next to their head. So I went from here, blocking out the arm, over to the crook of his neck right here. I'll bring my head right here to finish. 4 fingers in. And anytime his hand's out of position, I just go here, get the material. Again, connection to the carotid first, get material, bring my head over to his head. It's a very tight choke.
It's brutal.